All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. Yeah, I'm in view. So I'm Scott Gilmore. I am with the Bayside District. I'm with the Popcorn Kernel Bayside District, so I'll be doing the presentation tonight. I can't see myself now. Those of you online, if you have not put your name and unit in chat, please do so because we need to take attendance. And the second thing for those online, Allison has already dropped in the link to the popcorn guide in the chat. So go ahead and go into the chat. So you can get a virtual copy of the popcorn guide. We've passed them out here. Those are the two admin things. Do we have anything else, Erin? Allison?
No.
Okay. All right. So I see some new faces from last year. I've been around a couple of years. Online, I'm assuming that we have some new faces there too. So I will do my best. If you have questions, to repeat the question and then answer the question. But sometimes I get focused on talking instead of your questions. So you are more than welcome to raise your hand, stand up, or holler at me to break my focus of talking too fast. And if I am talking too fast, let me know, right? I mean, you get in front of a group and your anxiety goes up and you start talking. I love to talk. So I'll try and keep it to the slides. So we're out of here in 6 hours. All right.
And for those online, if you want to just drop any questions in the chat, Erin will answer them what she can, and then also let Scott know of anything that should be addressed.
All right. So first slide is our popcorn kernels for the districts. And this is in your guide. So we've got Erin, who's at council with us. Three Rivers, Rudy, Clark, Tammy, Princess Anne. We have Matt, Tony, and Kelly. Bayside, myself, and Krista Dunn. And then Albemarle, Tony, and Mary. And that's their email addresses. So please make sure that if you have questions, you utilize the resources. Oh, and look at that. She even put a QR code for the popcorn guide. That was nice.
That's for the Facebook group. So if you guys are not members of the Facebook group yet, that link will take you there to request to join.
Okay.
And Tony is listed twice, not by mistake. He will be helping both Albemarle and Princess Anne.
Oh. Great. All right. So why do we sell popcorn? We are one of the few districts that actually gets the percentages we get, and we get that because of you guys. And the amount of popcorn that you sell. So we not only do it to get for the scouts to help make money to help the units and the scouts pay their bills, but we also use it for additional support throughout the council, whether that's up at PIPSCO or one of the other units and locations. It also helps our scouts develop talking to adults and learning about popcorn and sales because it is a big, I never really thought about it when I was younger, but it really helps kids to facilitate and think about what they're saying and speaking. And I don't know if it's on this slide. I think we have another slide farther, but for each of the, for any unit, for what regards to the rank, there is some sort of requirement that they can use selling popcorn to check that off. And I think there's like 3 or 4 merit badges.
There's pages towards the back of your popcorn guide that has a.
And then the other thing is visibility. We get out in the community. People can see that the scouts are still around. They're still viable. We're still organized. And a lot of people are looking forward to popcorn, right? There are a lot of people who look forward to it for when we come out. And there's also then those who were scouts that show up at the table and they buy 2 or 3 tins just because to show their support back to the unit. So it's a great time for us to get out in there. And there's a lot of reasons to sell popcorn, not just to make money. And then this slide kind of goes over some of the projects that we have used popcorn to support. The projects up at Pipsico, I can't see the rest of that.
Moonyon and
camp-
Digger.
Right, so Pipsico and several of the other camps. So it's not just the scouts, not just the units, but also our other camps. And then all the extra popcorn that doesn't get sold, that gets returned, we then take that and give it to USO, right? So plenty of people get support for the popcorn. All right, so how to be successful? Developing a unit sales plan and pre-order for the unit. For those who have been around, have ordered popcorn before, you kind of know what you have done in the past. Once you create your account, you can go in and see what has been ordered. And if you can't figure that out, then contact your rep, and we can help you see what you ordered last year on your first, for your first order. If you are a new popcorn kernel. So the two locations that district tracks, and that is Lowe's and Food Line. So those will all be run out of district. Do not go to those places. But any other place that you want to try and sell at, you are more than welcome to. We want to sell to our neighbors, friends, online. There's a link for us to do online sales. And those are at, unit sales are at 40% commission, and then online sales are at 30%. But that is a great place for scouts, for adults to post on their Facebook or send emails to family, friends, saying if they're not in the area, that they can still support their local scouts or the scouts friends of that area with that online order link. One of the things for online orders, chocolate, if they go on and order anything that's chocolate, that does not get sent out, mailed until later in September, October, when the weather cools down. We don't want people getting melted chocolate in the mail in August. The up there trading product with other units. As we go through the season, if you end up with extra product and you don't want to return it, you can trade with other units. And this goes to making sure that you, or at least one person in your unit, is on the Facebook. There's a lot of discussion that happens on the Facebook, units talking with each other, swapping either popcorn or types of popcorn, or somebody got too heavy in one, swaps it for another, or that people have signed up for a location with Lowe's or Food Line and they need to swap out. So it's important that at least one person from each unit is on the Facebook page, so you guys can keep up with everything that's going on. The popcorn guide. 99.9% of every question you guys have is going to be in the popcorn guide. My first 2 years, I asked so many questions, and the answer was, Scott, page X on the popcorn guide. Scott, page X in the popcorn guide. So when you ask questions, we are happy to answer it, and we will. We want to provide you all the support you need, but a lot of times our answer will come to where it is in the popcorn guide. That way you can get familiar with the popcorn guide. And then again, as I stated, hey, make sure if you have questions, your district colonels are the first people to talk to. And we can answer most of them. And if we can't, then we will get with you to get to district, or we'll go to district ourselves to get an answer for you. So, Allison, how are the people online getting the sales kits? Are they coordinating with you directly?
So they will be going to their district executives. So for those of you online who are in Princess Anne, we have Christy Cooper here is going to have the kits for Princess Anne. Albemarle will go to Mary Perrine, Bayside to West Sherman, and Three Rivers to John Murdoch. So coordinate with your district executive if you're not here at the training to receive it.
Okay, and make sure you guys get these. There's a lot of good information in the tote bag. We've got the banner, the sales kits, your money envelopes for the pack or for the unit, and then also for when you turn the money in. And then the famous tasting kit, right? Who does not like the tasting kit? Okay, that's what I thought. So for what I do, and everyone, I'll talk about that when we get to another slide, when we talk about that. But so we have 2 new flavors this year. I'll talk about that right now. We have the pretzels. If you're looking at your guide, the pretzels they wanted to do something special, so they're white chocolate and they're in red, white, and blue colors. And they're coming in a bag. The other new flavor is Mountain Munch, and it's caramel sea salt that's drizzled with milk chocolate and white chocolate. There is one more new flavor, but you don't see it because it's part of the chocolate lovers tin. So you have to get the chocolate lovers, but it is called Firecracker Crunch. And that is a chocolate drizzled with Pop Rocks on it, red and blue Pop Rocks. So it's definitely
For the kids.
yeah, it's good. I thought it was pretty good. So
Kids actually really like it.
Okay.
And the ones that,
$60.
when we had our sampling as district popcorn kernels, I brought a few pieces to, I think we had 4 teenagers at home at the time. Ours plus friends, and they all love the Firecracker Crunch.
Yeah, all the kids in the photo packed all of these sales kits, and all 4 of them said that was their new favorite.
all right, so a lot of the kids are liking the Firecracker Crunch.
They make faces, but the kids are actually liking it.
So, and in the chocolate lovers, Allison was able to work with them, Pedatonica, and get them to do 5 individual separate flavors. So there's no, in the past we'd had white chocolate and chocolate pretzels. And so she was able to get them to give us 5 individual flavors in the chocolate lovers. And the pretzels are missing from the chocolate lovers because they're doing the red, white, and blue. So Pedatonica wanted to focus on that.
You can still get the sea salt splash out of the chocolate.
Mhm. Right?
So the tasting kit has 2 of those new flavors in it.
Oh.
And I believe that's what the Firecracker Crunch and the Mountain Munch.
Yep.
are.
Yep. Both Firecracker Crunch and Mountain Crunch are in your tasting kits. And they're both silver foils. And so I did not know this, it took me a couple years before I learned the trick. But if you can read the foil, pull it tight, use a phone, it has a number on it. And on your tasting kit, there's also a number here. And so if you compare those 2 numbers, you know what's in each bag. I didn't know that. A lot of time I was opening and guessing at what it was, but they actually tell us. So, all right. Training your scouts, this is important. And one of the things I realized was every time we do an event, whether we're doing a wagon sale or we're doing a sales event in front of a store, I always try and take a couple minutes to get the scouts to remember what to say. I've been doing this for years and I'm like, oh yeah, they should know. They did it last year. No, they don't, right? They're kids. And one of the big things is that we have worked on is, anytime you're in sales, a lot of times people don't want what you're selling. You don't ask them if they want it. You ask if they're going to support the scouts. Would you like to support the scouts? Because from there, then it helps break down that automatic defense that people, and we all do it. Break down that defense of, oh yeah, I do want to support the scouts. And being courteous and kind. I can't tell you the number of times that our scouts, people would be like, oh no, but thank you. And the scouts are very gracious and thank them for at least hearing them and have a good day. And 5 minutes later, they're back giving us either buying or putting money towards a military donation. And so that's something to always, with our scouts, to remind them. Class A uniforms, right? That's important that we're out there in front of the public, looking our best. Know the product, something that we'll do, when you do your tasting kit and go through, it's important that they have had at least tasting and they at least know some of the products and what they taste like. It helps them sell. And during events, then if we don't have anyone at the table, I'll quiz the scouts. Hey, what flavor is this? How much is it? Right? What does it taste like? And make it a game, right? Because we all get tired out there for 2 or 3 hours selling popcorn. And so if you can try and make those a game in between people rushing your table, then it can help them remember what they need to be saying. Donations, and this always, every year I hear people ask multiple times, well, can we do it this way? Can we do, no, there's only one way for donations. No one here has the ability with the IRS to go out and ask for donations for scouts, right? I promise you that. You cannot go, can I have a donation? You can't put a donation tin out on your thing. So when people come up, if they're like, I'd like to buy popcorn, but I really don't need it. Okay, well, you could purchase a military donation. Right? They're straight up. Here's a military donation you can purchase. It's on the sheet, which means that you can ask them to buy that. You can ask in that way for that type of donation. If somebody just walks up and says, I really don't want to, but I want a donation. Great. We're happy to accept. The key is that then you go, this is a military donation. All of our donations then are purchased popcorn for that. And it's important that they know that the donation is not just being thrown somewhere, right? So they understand where that donation is, how we take and buy that popcorn, then to give it to the USO. But that is the reason, I mean, that's my understanding of why we did this, is because you can easily just pull this out and go, yes, donations. Any questions so far? Anything online? Okay.
No, because most of the things that have come up have been small things that not the whole group needs to hear.
Okay.
But they did put in there, information on like nutrition facts and stuff. There's, Keegan put in a link to the nutrition facts for all of them.
All right, so developing sales plans. I know the PAC I work with has not sat down and done their budget for the year. And so I'm pushing them to get the budget done. And that's out online. If you guys need to sit down, look at your budget, what you guys are looking at wanting to make, how much you're going to make, what do you need for your operating costs. Those are all tools out on district's website and most of the scouting websites. As I talked about earlier, for commissions, for in-person sales, the scouts units make 40%, and online sales are 30%. So as you're going through your budget, remember that if you give away 100%, you give the scout 40% of everything. If you have any chargebacks, right? Because if you return popcorn and then, you changed slides. Thanks. No, great. No, go back there. I was tapping in that. So this is just a sample of a budget, with 12 scouts operating of 33,000, the budget, and about what you need to, how you can come up that if you're going to have that and not have anyone pay for anything, then it's about 625 sale per scout. But you also have to factor in that if you have any expenses for parents that they're paying, if a tin gets misplaced, right, that comes out of the unit funds. If
Credit card fees.
credit card
prizes.
fees, oh yeah, that's a good one. There's still that small fee. So what I've done is we just do at my unit, we just do 30%. And then we'll also make sure that we have put in extra to the scouts, right? But as a base, we do 30%. That gives us that extra leeway. And then at the end of the year, if we've made more and we don't have the fees, then we put that back into the scouts. And then, so that's how we do it. But to everyone, you've just got to figure out what works best for you. Scout Boss, in the popcorn guide, everyone needs to get online and, make an account for Scout Boss. Every year, it's the same thing. You have to go back into Scout Boss and recreate a new account. This is where you will order your popcorn. And for the winner circle, Scout Boss is where you will put in winner circle prizes. Now, last year was the first year we did, Allison made up a nice Excel sheet and it was great. It really helped me out when I was putting in scouts. I didn't have to go to Scout Boss for every single prize. I just got to go onto Allison's sheet, fill it out, and then she took care of the rest. And so Scout Boss those are your two things you need. You need to fill it for your orders and for winner circle. The link to the Google, I know I
That's
read
coming
that.
up in a little bit. on
Okay.
prizes.
I was thinking I saw a page for it, but
Yeah.
yeah, okay, we'll talk about that in a little bit.
If you wouldn't mind hitting that bottom bullet point there, there's a new message board.
Oh, I did read that. So in Scout Boss, there is a new message board feature. So other colonels can see questions. So if they're not on Facebook, they can also see that you are trying to move other popcorn or locations.
Pecatonica River Popcorn staff can see it too, so if you have a question like, where do I find the nutritional information? You might get your answer from one of us, you might get it from another colonel, you might get it from Pecatonica even faster. So you can definitely use that. Brand new, but it is live now.
The biggest thing I will say when you're using it, because I was in there the other day looking at it, is that you will only see them usually when you sign them. So just note that, like, if you're trying to give away a shift or something, you know, and it shows their location, that may not be the best place to go because not everybody's logging in every single day to Scout Boss. Does that make sense?
Yep. So here are order deadlines. With this year, it kind of got with dates going. I think we're pushed back about a week from what we normally are. So the first order deadline is going to be July 22nd, August 19th, September 16th. And then the last order that has to be prepaid right before it will be ordered.
We do have one question from online, and this is a good one for everybody. Does Scout Boss require a new account every year, or if an account was made last season, is it still active for use? No, you do need to do it every year. Now, it does bring the data back in from last year once you set it up, but you need to go through and make sure you're checking your Scout roster to make sure that it's still current. You know, and that you drop the scouts that aren't there anymore and you add the scouts that aren't, so that way they get their seller IDs. But it is every single year you do have to put that council key in and set it up again.
And you can use the same login information that you
Yes.
used the year
Yes.
before. You don't have to like create a new thing.
Yep. Nope. So Scout Boss, every year you have to go back in and create a new account. And once you do that, it'll then auto link from what the information from last year. And then there's also a section in there where you need to go in and reactivate the scouts and delete those that aren't no longer in your unit.
And one other thing that I would say is I tell, like, especially because you do see last year's information, it is a good idea when you're, especially if you're new to this, looking at last year's orders, you know, when you're going through and you're trying to place your order, look at what kind of sales your unit did last year, because it does bring back that sales information. And if you're having a hard time accessing something, everything's in reports in Scout Boss. But if you're struggling, you can reach out to your your district colonels, and they can help you get that information as well. But it is a great place. I mean, there's tons of reports. I don't know how much you guys have played with it, but in the reports section, there's so much that you can bring up.
Delivery dates. So this is, I have to tell you, this is the first year that the dates have been on my calendar this soon. Only because I was reading the slides preparing for this class. And so I'm like, oh, I got better put those dates on. So delivery dates, and this is important. You can see how those who can come and help us, it is really important because we have a long day. We have 3 trucks. The first delivery is gonna be 3 trucks, maybe more. And it'll take us multiple hours. So if you can get these on your calendar and then let us know if you can come support us in offloading the popcorn from the trucks into council, on these dates. So this is talking about the products that we kind of covered with the new products already here. And before, one of the other things that we had that is new this year, and so trail mix is not new, but the container it is in is new. It's gonna be in a tin, but it's gonna come with a plastic lid, like the old coffee tins where they had the peel away lid. So that's gonna be a different type of lid than we normally have. And the other thing I want to talk about, since I'm thinking about it, so this is this is just a can. And you see the plastic that's around here. I always thought this was a safety seal. It is not. And we have customers that complain that, well, the lid's not on, the safety seal's not there. This is not a safety seal. This is, they put it on our tins in shipping so that the rim on the tin doesn't get scraped off. So that's all this is, even though a lot of times it comes up over the top of the lid, it's not a safety seal. Which is why all the popcorn on the inside is all in individual sealed containers. Because if this were gonna be a safety seal, they'd have to do a lot better job, right? So anyway, so that's just something I wanted to point out this year. Because we had a lot of, I don't know, it seemed like last year we had there was a lot more discussion about it last year with some of the kernels coming back with people complaining about what they thought what it was for.
And then I just wanted to chime in, because on the chocolate lovers, it looks like we have the white ruby in there too, which is the only way we can get it in person versus online sales.
Yes, and I have not looked at online sales. I don't know what they're.
It's still the
offering this year.
same.
Is it the same from last
It's
year?
For the,
Oh, okay.
that is the same, yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple minor changes to it. I think we have a slide coming up on that.
Oh, okay.
Changes.
Oh, I didn't. All right, great.
Is it good on this one?
Yep, I'm good. Yep, popcorn product mix. Are there any questions about the popcorn? I think we've covered it, I think. Okay. So new for this year, the online store is opening early, July 1st. So that's just right around the corner. As we've talked about, it's different products than in-person sales. That's how they do it every year. Which I like that because then, you can also tell people when they're buying stuff, if they ask for something specific, that you can point them to website sales. So you do want to get online to see what there are, and maybe print that off. So when you go to your tables, for sales, that if somebody makes a comment, then you have, hey, if you go to the website, you can order this as well. Shipping and tracking, as I mentioned, the chocolate products won't be shipped until the weather cools. It's always there's no set date. It's dependent upon weather. And so we'll have to keep checking with them, on when they're gonna start selling, shipping those.
So there is no more coffee online.
Correct.
We got good feedback on the coffee though, so.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Wow.
And also online sales is, when you go into Scout Boss, there is a section for you to run a report tracker for just online sales. And that is important that if you pass out those links, that you also check there to see what other sales there are that are coming into your unit. Returns, we always have this question every year. And we go into a long discussion about it. Returns, their chocolate lovers cannot be returned. Cheese Lovers Classic Trio, can be returned until September 16th. And then all other products can be returned up until October 28th. After that, there are no more returns. When it comes to chocolate, right, we do the funk test for, those of you who've been around, you know what we're talking about. Anyone new, when you bring stuff back to council, we'll be there to check your product back in, and we will just shake the can. And if it goes kerthunk, we're handing it right back to you, right? Because it's melted. And so, but if it doesn't, then we will take it back. One of the things to realize about returns is we, council, are taking returns, but we are not sending it back. Once the product arrives, we have purchased it. It is here. So, we have been able to keep the 40% paying out to the units because of how well you guys have done every year, year after year. And so when we take it back, that's why all your donations are important, because then we take products that have come back, we then take the donations to purchase those to send them to the USO. So just realize that anything you return, we are not returning back for a refund from the main company.
And I'm gonna bring this up just because it came up last year. Please don't put stickers on top of labels, because if the label is damaged or no color on the labels, we can't take them back. So we're going, and it is actually in the popcorn kernels guide, so, again, please read through the popcorn kernel guide. Anybody that's in here in person has it in your hands. If not, you've been given the link to it online. But if there's, if the labels are damaged, we can't take that back. I am usually the bad guy at council that does the funk test and tells you, sorry, we can't take your melted chocolate. But anything that's gonna damage the outside of the tin, so we now can't ship it off to the USO or resell it, is gonna go back to your unit, and your unit is gonna have to eat that. So just be careful.
Right, so, and that's a good point for those online. The labels that come, that say exactly what it is and all that, that's a FDA requirement, right? That's a food requirement. The label has to be intact and readable. And so when you are out in the heat, there are multiple ways to keep from the cans rusting. One of the things I like to do is I get the little water bottles and freeze those, and then just wrap a towel in them and then throw them in my cooler. And that way, as they melt, then the kids can drink if they didn't bring their own water. Also, what I've heard Aaron talk about this, I haven't personally done it, but if you take a 2-liter bottle of soda and fill it with water and you put it inside, take one of the cans out and just put it inside your.
I actually like the half-gallon milk containers because they're a little bit more square.
Oh, okay.
But so when I was doing unit sales, and I think I actually still have a freezer that has these in them because I'm a dodo. Because I'm not assisting my unit, but the product used to be at my house. So I literally had a freezer dedicated to that. And I would have half-gallon containers. I'd have a whole stack of coolers. I even found somebody who was giving away one online, a big cooler that the lid just wasn't, it could go down, but it wasn't sealing right. But I don't care about that for this purpose, right? And if you I would put each one of them on my ass. I actually had like a thing on my doors, like when you take your product, because I'd have it all set out for the sales for the next day or whatever. Please take 2 half-gallon containers, put them in the bottom, because they are nice, they can be nice and square in that bottom, and it allowed me to get more product in there.
But definitely put towels over top of it, it'll just slip on.
Yes. So right. So when if you bring it back, just check your containers to make sure that they're not all wet, and then don't put anything on top of that's going to damage the labels, right? And that's just one of those things we have to always be watching. So the way it works, it's in the popcorn guide. I read it 2 nights ago. Is that so? There's no. Your restocking fee is based on the total amount. It's a 10% that you can return without a restocking fee. So if you get $3,000 worth of popcorn, then 10% that you can return $300 worth of popcorn. If you get $6,000 worth of popcorn, you can return $600 without a restocking fee, right? So it's a percentage based off the total amount of popcorn your unit has pulled out from council. After that, then it becomes a 20% restocking fee for anything you return to council after that 10% of what you have gotten. Transferring product. This is a great way that you do not have to return product to council, right? This is going on the Facebook and talking to other units that if you have extra popcorn or you got too much of one, post it. And you may have to update it a couple of times. But I was able to get rid of, I waited too late last year before I started trying to get rid of ours, the extra we had. So I did end up, but yes, last year was the first year I ended up with a restocking fee. Every other year, I planned it well enough ahead. I talked to enough people and then I pushed and sold more. That we have not had any restocking fees until last year. So you got to pay attention to what you're selling, how much you have, what additional events you have going on afterwards. So that's.
I just had so a lot of times when you guys are requesting to be part of the Facebook group, I'm going through and accepting those requests. And so since we've been here, I've had 2 requests, and one of them I thought was very interesting because it's the first time I've seen this. Many times it comes from your personal account, and that's fine. And we've had a few units who have said, hey, I don't have a personal Facebook. But I did just get a request from an actual unit's Facebook page, their private Facebook page. So if you don't do Facebook because you can't do it because of maybe there's a reason, if you have a private Facebook page for your unit, you could also request that way to be added to the Popcorn Kernels page to be up to date on things. Or find another adult in your unit who can, because it's a great way to communicate with other units.
So I'm not sure if those online could hear Erin, but what she was saying was if you personally do not have a Facebook account, if your unit has a Facebook account, you can use that to request access to the Popcorn Kernel Facebook page. And then also when you're transferring products, right, you'll be transferring it and it'll only, the unit who's taking it is not giving you 100% of retail value. They're giving you the 60% because the taking unit then is going to make the profit off what they sell.
And that's only if you're transferring after October 28th. If you go through Scout Boss, it's just going to move from your invoice to the other unit's invoice or vice versa. After October 28th, we've closed out all the invoices, asked you guys to make that last payment. So that's just a suggestion on how to handle that money so that the unit who is selling the product is the one earning the sales commission.
And donations don't transfer, right? You keep those. And I've done this, Allison has to keep correcting me every year because I give council 100% of my donations. And then she's trying to reconcile my account and she's like, why'd you give me 100%? Because in my mind, I'm giving you 100%. So council, you give 60% of your donations when you go pay your bill.
And that's because you're earning that 40% sales commission.
Right.
But just fill out the form and then we'll put it on your invoice and you'll see exactly how much you owe.
Payment deadlines for the first due to council listed on invoice for the first one from August 10th. Show and sell order 2 is due by September 5th. The third one is due by September 7th. Oh, I got ahead. 2, 3. So the third one's due by October 28th. And that's the last payment, right? The 28th October.
Unless you report some extra donations in that 4th reporting period, and then that's when you'll have that last invoice.
Okay.
So essentially what we'll do is it's the Monday after the delivery. So you might have picked up a little bit of extra product over that first weekend if you needed more after your order. So we're going to pull invoices on August 10th, September 7th, October 28th. On those invoices, there's an amount at the bottom that says total due council. That's what you owe. And then for those first ones, it's at the next delivery whenever you pick that up. Or if you don't come pick it up by the Saturday, it's due that Saturday.
Important. If you are having issues, keep open communication with your district, with Allison, right? We can't help what we don't know is a problem. And again, if you are, they always, every time, right? That first order go a little heavy, because, I always end up selling more than I expect in the first month. Just always happens. So. And there is a late fee, 3%, for past due invoices. But again, keep open communication with the colonels, with Allison. And so we can help you out, or we can help figure out, maybe a lot of times we will know about units that are looking for popcorn, even if they haven't posted on Facebook. And so if you're like, hey, I've got too much, we don't have money, we want to transfer. And we may know of units that were looking for popcorn that just haven't utilized Facebook yet. Payment methods, you go to the Scout Shop and submit check, cash, or use your units Scout account. Credit cards is a 3% fee. In the popcorn guide, so it says up there e-check, right? In the popcorn guide, there is a link that tell you how to do the e-check. So you can do an e-check. You can give that link to your treasurer and they can.
That e-check was phenomenal. That saved us every time we needed to make a payment last year. Cause my treasurer was just like, where's that e-check thing that we could do? And it was done and we showed up and she's like, yep, you're all paid. Don't worry about it.
Great. So we have someone who's very happy about e-check here in person. So if you haven't looked at that, check it out, because it will save you from, if you're running late, you don't have time to get to council to pay it. Your treasurer get online and pay it right off without having to show up at council. As we talked about, all donations are military donations. Donations that goes to purchase the popcorn, that goes to, there's no, and people do it and I get it. They come up and they see the Scout right there. Oh, they're so cute. Here's $10 to, do whatever you want with it. And I've had several Scouts that were not happy with me when I'm like, I understand what they told you, but it's a donation. You still make your profit, but you can't just take that money home and put it in your pocket. That is not what these are for. And so here's the reasons why. First, it's Scouting American policy, IRS policy, state laws, military donations. We earn prizes, right? And that was changed a few years ago, but it's really nice at how we do it now. As I keep saying, we take this donation money and we purchase the popcorn that we purchased that would be a loss for us. And so by you guys, and I can't stress enough how much what you do and how you do your inventory has helped council and everyone to stay at that 40%. There are a lot of units across the US that do not get that because they are not as diligent as the work that this council has done, which is you popcorn kernels and everything that you guys have done to manage, to sell, and then to manage the returns coming back to council.
Yeah, a lot of councils also don't accept returns.
Oh.
So because you guys are doing this with donations, that's why we're able to take returns back at all.
Oh, that I did not know. So that's right.
I want to mention, and this is just a kudos to everybody who has been a part of popcorn, because I see a lot of familiar faces. Really, over the past few years, I would say, what was it, 5 years ago, we had a very large return. Was that 5 years ago?
I think it was. Yeah.
And, it was like $127,000, and we were looking at the warehouse going, oh my goodness, what are we gonna do? And we had some very diligent popcorn kernels at the time who sold the bejesus out of it. And that became a big issue. And so that's when we had to start looking at how can we stop that from happening, because we can't have so much return that we now have to put it on the backs of really like 2 or 3 popcorn kernels who pushed their kids to sell the bejesus out of this product to meet our military donation amount. But because you guys did a phenomenal job with military donations last year, and the year before you did a great job too, but last year we were able to not only counterbalance our inventory, but didn't we have to order a little bit extra because we didn't have enough inventory for the donations we had going out. And I have had military service members come up to me and my son when we're at booths telling us that they wanted to buy popcorn from us because they were in the military, they were out of the country, the USO sent them popcorn and it felt like home to them, right? So seeing those tins, even if they didn't care about the popcorn, it was a reminder of being home. It was something that was special for them. So I mean, we had a guy that would come in weekly to one of our sales sites and, you know, when he was here and spend like $150 in popcorn to support us because it was such a warm, fuzzy feeling for him. So when you think about that and, you know, our area, whether you're in Northeastern North Carolina or Virginia, you know, the military is a big part of our economy. We want to give back to those who have served. So that's what those military donations do. But really, thank you guys for putting us in such a good position, really communicating, transferring inventory, making sure that you're not taking out so much that we end up with that gigantic glut. So you guys are the backbone and the reason why we are still able to keep it at 40%. And we want to keep doing that year after year. So thank you. Sorry.
No, thank you. Just goes back to how awesome this council is and everyone pitching together to keep what we can do. Donation. So what I think we instituted this last year, because before I was one of the problem children who would at the last minute or 10 minutes after the last minute, I'm handing Allison at the end of the season all my donations. And so what this allows us council to do is to keep a pulse on the donations, how much we have, how much popcorn's out there, so they have an idea of where we're gonna end up in November. So we now have pins, and the first set of pins donations are due August 19th, the second set September 16th, October 28th, and November 29th. You know, now that I'm standing in front of everyone, I don't remember all the slides I looked at. We have a slide for pins, right?
Yes, that's the
Okay.
next one.
Right. Oh, great. Okay, so we'll do pins next.
So that last bullet point is important to me as the person looking at the form. Specify the portion of donations from online sales. There is a cell towards the bottom of the prize form that says that. That is because if you have an online donation, your customer already paid it. So I look at the total on your sheet and I put that amount in to bill you on your invoice. We don't want to bill you guys for something that's already been paid. So make sure that you fill that cell in, even if it's a zero, because you know you don't have any online donations, and that helps us know that we're billing you correctly.
And is it the same as last year when it comes to like, if you just want your scout to get, you know, the pins, you can do 100 before the first deadline, not worry
Correct.
about it again? Okay.
Yes, yeah,
Oh. Smart.
that's coming up in the next slide after this one.
Oh, okay. So,
Very good.
we got 4 pins this year. As you can see, they're a little larger than we expected.
They're super
So,
sized for America
They are,
250.
yeah, so, yeah, we played it. They're super sized for the 250. But you've got the Eagle, Statue of Liberty, the Liberty Bell, and then fireworks, in order of when they'll be coming out. What was the next slide?
Is that the patch too?
Oh, yes.
Yes, oh yeah, and the patch. The America 250.
And the patch is for what?
The patch is for selling $125. Yep, that's the first. We got another slide coming up that goes over all the prices and the prices.
And there is no separate patch for the pin, for the donation pin, it's just the pin.
Correct.
Yes.
So,
Oh.
sorry, the patch is for over 125 in donations?
No,
No,
in sales.
in sales.
Popcorn, when you sell 125 in popcorn, it has nothing to do with donation.
Okay.
I bet there's a
Well,
prize slide.
Pin, but-
We're just
That's it.
running over your whole slide. I know you're.
Right. And so one of the questions that's come up is. So for the first donation. For that scout to get that pin, you have to submit $25, right? And for the second one, for the next pin, by the next date, now they have to have a total of $50. However, what someone just brought up is if the scout gets 100 right away, you just put 100 down and now they've done all 4 pins ahead of time. However, if you don't provide donations until September, none of your scouts can get that first pin. It has to be done to go, you can do it forwards, but you can't go backwards. And so tracking those dates for your scouts, especially if they want those pins, that is important. Top selling. So, in addition to the prizes that are on the sheet, we just have just the winner's circle.
Just the winner's circle.
Okay, just the winner's circle is on here. On top of that, council for first place is a $500 gift card. Second place is $300, and the third place for council is a $200 Amazon gift card. So those are on top of all the other prizes that are already being awarded. Units must pay in full, submit top seller forms by November 29th. Is that in Scout Boss or is that our own form?
So that is a separate link for the top seller, and it is in the popcorn guide what that link is.
Okay.
But just a quick link where you put in your top 3 selling scouts, and then we'll compare all those and find out who the top 3 overall are.
And this goes, all right, so these are the council awards. So every scout that sells $125 of popcorn, they get that patch. Then at $525, it's a cinema cafe. And at $1,125 is a $35 Amazon gift card. And at $2,125 is a $50 gift card through council. And that is all done on the tracking sheet that we hand Allison. I like that so much better. If you haven't noticed, I really liked when we did that. Submit popcorn prizes. So again, these are just the military donation dates. August 19th, September 26th, October 28th, and November 29th. Google Sheets or the Excel form.
So the Excel form is currently posted on the website on the popcorn page. I can also email that out if anybody wants it. Otherwise, if you prefer the Google Sheet, send me an email with a Gmail address that you would like to have access to it, and I will take care of that for you. And then you can just update the same one throughout the sale.
Any questions on prizes, patch, or the pins? You guys all good on the line?
Oh, Aaron's.
Just please remember to get the winner circle prizes. We would hate to see anybody not get what they're supposed to get by November 29th. Because we go and we start processing them the following week. We sit down and that's when we get to make the fun phone calls. Hey, this doesn't match up. Again, we're just looking to make sure that the total number of sales matches what you've actually declared to us that you sold. But we want to make sure that the scouts are getting their prizes and nobody's missing out on what they should get.
Oh, 3D printer this year.
Yeah.
All right, so if a scout sells $9,375 worth of popcorn, what does he get? He gets the patch, he gets the cinema cafe, and the 2 Amazon gift cards and 3 winner circle, right? So for every $3,000, 125, they get a winner circle. So at the first 3,000, they get a winner circle. At 6,250, they get a second winner circle prize. But the winner circle keeps going. Do the gift cards keep going through? That I don't remember.
So you can get a gift card for your winner circle. So you would keep getting, if you chose those as your prizes, you could continue getting Amazon or Best Buy or AMC gift cards, or you could get all 3D printers. It's really up to you.
All prizes must be submitted by November 29th, no exceptions. So please stay on top of that for your scouts. We don't want any of the scouts. And I know I sent out text messages last year to all of my popcorn kernels in Bayside multiple times, reminding them. And then Allison sent me a, hey, I still got 3 of your people that don't have. Like, okay, so now I'm making phone calls, right? So we will do our best to help you, to remind you, not that we don't end up with scouts without prizes, but it really ends up on your shoulders to make sure you guys input that. Unit incentives. So I got this from Tony years ago, and so I just kind of stuck with it. This is what I do for our pack. You can see at the top, the Q on here. There
don't
is
think- I don't think they did it this year.
They didn't. All right, so prior to every year, there used to be a QR code on here that would take you to our district site to sign a scout up. It's not on here. What I do is, since I pulled this out of my unit kit, I take these apart, I laminate this, and on the back side, that QR code that's there, I put that here, and that goes directly to Pack 628 sign up form. And so that's what that QR code is. So that's what I do for each of our cubs, so that they have something laminated, and then if also on the back of here, inside that lamination sheet, then we talked about it earlier, if you go to the website, it'll tell you all the allergens. And so I print off in this laminated sheet that I give the scouts, the allergens in it. So they have 2 things, right? It's a recruitment tool and allergen. I think we've only had 4 or 5 people ever ask us, but just as soon as you don't have it, they're gonna ask you, right? So this just kind of goes over, this is what we did because we're Pack 628. We stayed with $628, and we were going to pay for their memberships and their fees. And then you get the popcorn. So everything on the right-hand side is for district. That stuff on the left-hand side is the pack incentives that we're doing. And so, we just, and this goes down to, this was last year's, the year before. So you can't just copy this. You've got to sit down, look at your budget, and based off current sales points and prizes and what you guys want to do, then you can adjust those numbers. It just gives you an idea of what other units are doing, and how they're doing it. Selling at Lowe's, Superior, Lynn Haven Superior, and Food Lion. This is, as we discussed earlier, this is all run at district level. Please don't go to those places because we've already coordinated at the national. I think we're coordinating. Doesn't.
Yeah, Lowe's is here locally with each store manager. Food Lion is their entire Food Lion store network.
So just as the season goes, we will be talking to everyone. Remember, we're scouts, right? And being trustworthy and doing a good turn daily. If there is a mix-up in the schedule, please be understanding with the other units, right? This is, we don't need to have scout units fighting with each other in the middle of a parking lot, right? So things do happen, schedules get mixed up, people get mixed up. So please, give whoever grace if something comes up, and then contact the district or contact, the district popcorn kernels or council, and we will work out what we can if an issue or a mix-up happens at one of these locations. But we want to, for those of you who are here, you will get first chance to sign up, right? Online too. You guys aren't being just because you're not here.
Yeah, so
You're-
make sure,
Those attending training, there we go.
Yeah.
You will
If
get-
you're online, make sure that you signed in by putting your name, unit number, and email in the chat so that you're on that list.
Yep, so good, thank you. So name, unit, email,
Mhm.
in the chat. If you haven't done it online yet, please do so now. And so we'll take, and then so when the first set goes out, those people who attended training will get first pick. And I know when it comes out like that, and people are online in 30 seconds and slots are filled up. So it is important that you, because I didn't last year and I got, I don't know, last pick for my unit to get those, which is okay. There's plenty of other places, right? You don't have to, you can go to any business that you know and ask if you can sell popcorn outside in front of their store, right? So it's not just these three we have are at district, or at council, I mean. And then any other place that you know, they're either friends of yours or they're part of your unit, you can go sell in front of them.
If you're doing a show and sell though, make sure you stay within our council boundaries. We don't want people from our neighboring councils to come set up booths here, and we need to give them that same respect, by staying in our council area. So for Virginia, that's gonna be Chesapeake, Norfolk, Portsmouth, Virginia Beach. And then for Albemarle, we've got 7 counties, Camden, Chowan, Currituck, Dare, Gates, Pasquotank, and Perquimans.
Yep. The other thing I would ask is that if you have signed up for something for a show and sell, that plan ahead. And I would say if you don't have people sign up at the latest 7 days in advance, you need to be looking at asking another unit to take that slot. I know we had several units that didn't show up to show and sales last year, and then several that were dumped at the last minute. And I get things happen, right? Things happen, we get busy, we all have, this is all an additional job for us, right? But just try and plan ahead. And if you have not had that show and sell stepped up by 7 days or 5 days at the minimum, you need to be going out on the Facebook and letting people know. I would recommend you not only put it, you go back into the sign up Genius, remove yourself from there. You then post it on Facebook and then also hit up your district. Because then, right, and if you can't get to Facebook, then hit up district, right? Let one of the district colonels know, and then they can go on to Facebook for you and to follow up to see if we can get another unit in that spot, because if we're not there, then no one's selling popcorn, right?
I'd like to just make one distinction, because we have a lot of kind of people on the Zoom that are putting in the same comment. As far as the Excel spreadsheet for the prizes, that is at the bottom of the Tidewater Council Popcorn Kernels page to get right to the Excel spreadsheet. So if you go to the, and I actually just put it in the chat for everybody to see, which is tidewaterbsa.com/popcorn sales/2026 popcorn sale. Right at the bottom, there's the Excel spreadsheet. The only thing that she had said is that if you need to get the Google Sheets form of it, email her directly. And then she'll send you the Google Sheet form, but it has to come from a Gmail account. So if you aren't comfortable using Excel and you'd rather use Google Sheets, that's where it would come from, because we got a lot of things saying, oh, please send that to me. So it is on the bottom of the Tidewater Council BSA popcorn sale for 2026. That page, right on the bottom right hand corner of the page, is the Excel spreadsheet for putting in your donations. The one other question that came up, sorry to jump in again. If you know the owner of a franchise of a national chain, does that count, or does that have to be a fully private business storefront? It can be a national brand, as long as it's not one of the ones that council is
Right.
running.
Yeah, so it's I know Harris Teeter a couple years ago, last 2 years ago, they went and
2 years ago.
2 years ago, because of a lawsuit against them, because they were being discriminatory. They just said, we are not allowing anyone to sell in front of our store. However, let's say that you know, or you approach the optic center that's next to Harris Teeter, and they say you can sell in front of their store. Well, you're not selling in front of Harris Teeter, but you're also pulling in traffic, right? So it doesn't have to, it's as long as the manager allows you to do it, it doesn't matter who what company it is. So yeah, any place that'll allow you to do it. These are the dates, so selling at Food Lion, when these come out, we'll have Saturday, October tenth and Saturday, October 17th. For anyone new, the way, all the sales for Lowe's and Food Lion go, there's a morning shift and an afternoon shift for a unit. And so they're two separate, so on one day, they're allowed to sign up initially for two slots, is that right?
Usually,
Us-
yeah. So
Usually.
what we normally do is we look and see what's available as we're determining throughout the sale, you know, how many more you can get. Can you be in your district lines or council wide?
Alright, so there's a morning shift to sign up for and an afternoon shift, so. When those come out, in the email, it'll tell you how many shifts you're eligible to sign up for. And then, once that fills up, if there's still more slots, then another email will come out. But, make sure that you read the email and you only sign up for the number of slots that is in that email. Access begins Tuesday, June 30th. And then after July 7th, there might be extra slots. Oh, other units may sign. Is the July 7th for those who don't attend training?
Correct.
Okay, sorry, there we go. So Tuesday, June 30th, all those of you in training will get an email saying sign up. July 7th, those who don't attend training will get an email saying they can now sign up. And then beginning the 13th, if there are any extra slots, another email will come out saying how many extra slots, how many your additional units can sign up for.
Yeah, so that initial one that's only open to those who attend training, that's only gonna come out via email. And then future ones will be email and posted on the webpage and in the Popcorn Kernels Facebook group
Is that original one for both days?
for both trainings. Oh, and it'll be both the 10th and 17th, so you'll be able to choose, I think we've got pretty much every location that Food Lion has within our council area, and we've got both of those dates. So you'll be able to choose a couple slots from all of those choices.
Do you have an approximate time of day you're gonna send that email out? So I can be your signal.
So, typically we try to do about 6 o'clock, so that gives you time,
6
to get, yeah, 6 p.m. 6 p.m. Because we've asked around, people have said that's a good time for getting home from work and getting back in front of your computer for a lot of people. If you guys have feedback on that, we are happy to consider other times.
Will you take an email or a text or a phone call if you can sign us up, or does it have to be us?
It's gotta be you, but it can be anybody in your unit. And that's important because if you need to cancel a sign up, on a sign up Genius, the person who signed up can delete their own sign up. So if it's somebody else who needs to make an edit, then it's gonna be harder for you to get back in there.
How many slots can we sign up for on the 30th?
Bring it start.
I think it's gonna be 2, but we'll definitely send all of that communication in advance and let you know. And we put it on the 30th because, as you know, we do have another edition of this training on Monday. So we wanted to give the people attending the second training an opportunity as well. And then the signups for Food Lion do close August 13th. So make sure you get in there before then, and that's Food Lion's request. Anything we're not using, they want back.
So Lowe's and Lynn Haven sign up dates, July 2nd. Now, is that for,
That's for everybody. So the early access is gonna be just for Food Lion this year.
oh, okay. So there's no early access for Lowe's.
Correct.
Okay, so July 2nd is when signups will come out for Lowe's and Lynn Haven, and then July 9th. And then if there are any remaining slots still open, July 14th is when those will become available for units to then sign up for those.
So that first one will just be for the August sales dates through Labor Day weekend. And that is in order to get you guys to know what your slots are before the first orders due. And then after the first orders due, then we'll do the signups for September and October.
I kind of said this earlier, hey, keep in touch with your colonels, keep in touch with the district, if you have a problem, if you have an issue. Get on the Facebook page, talk to other units, right? There are so many people out here that are willing to help. If you're a new popcorn kernel, I'll tell you that anyone who's been around would love to help you if you have a question. We can't help you if we don't know you have a question or what the issue is. So communicate with everyone, stay on top of it, talk to your unit, talk to the colonels, and let us know. And so our goal is to make all of you successful. And so it is important to us, and we do our best to try and support everyone with anything you need. All right, that wraps it up for me. Any questions? All right, well,
When you are doing the online sales, I can't remember, so when I go and, cause each scout gets their own online thing, do they email that to them?
okay, so the question is about online sales and how the scouts get the links. So if you go into Scout Boss, you'll have a unit roster, and you'll need to add the scout and the email address of the parent. And once you activate that, that's what activates that linked email to that parent. Let's now say that the parent goes, I've never got an email. You go back into Scout Boss, you deactivate that, reactivate it, and as soon as it gets reactivated, a new email gets sent to that parent in that email address.
Okay.
Yep, good question.
Mine's kind of along the same line, so Scout Boss and Scout Book are not.
No.
So we have to remove and we have to add.
Scout Boss.
In Scout Boss, yes.
Scout.
Scout, the question is, Scout Book, the difference between Scout Book and Scout Boss. Scout Boss is only for popcorn.
Okay,
And in there is, it does have the roster, but it doesn't,
They have the
Connect
roster
to-
that came from last year.
yes, it does not connect
okay,
and pull in anything from Scout Book. Scout Boss is its own separate database.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
that
If
is
you've got
all,
any new kids, you gotta
Yep.
add them. Any old scouts, you can inactivate them, it still will stay in there.
Yeah.
So I thought like.
so you're not
kids,
deleting people, you're just inactivating.
you
Correct.
can just inactivate.
Okay.
Yep.
And I,
So anybody that's, when you log in, and if you've done it in previous years, it'll pull everybody forward. At the end of the row, there's like an edit thing, if you, or update or something, if you click on that, and then hit save, that will send a link to anybody that's already in there. Anybody new, you'll have to add.
Yeah, you don't have to deactivate, and then you can just refresh their link and refund it.
And I will say that one of the things that I did when I was doing unit sales is I printed out the pages of my scouts and their seller IDs. So that way, if a parent asks me, I don't know what my scout seller ID is, you can send it to them. You know, you could just text it to them. Or you have it at your unit, especially when they were in the pack. You know, when you have your pack meetings, a lot of parents would come up to you because they're there with their kids. I don't know my scout seller ID. I would have it in a binder with all of my popcorn stuff, so that way I could just tell them right then and there.
Does that always send an email? Cause I don't think that, none of my parents ever told me that they got an email. I had to give them the seller ID for anybody.
when you
Everybody.
activate, so when you go into Scout Book, right, when you're looking at these, it has,
Yeah.
right, as soon as you hit activate, it automatically should
I
send an email,
believe you. I just don't remember ever getting that when I started
right?
having my kid in it, and I nobody
Now,
told me last
so-
year that they got an email. I had to give them.
I also sent out a email to the pack, right, or to my unit and say, hey, I just sent all these emails from, I forgot, it'll tell you where it's coming from. Please go check your junk email, because right, we spam filters, all of that, so, when you set this up, it'll tell you where it's the email address it's coming from. And so I do send an email to all my parents in the unit saying, I've just sent all these. If you don't have it, check your junk. Here's where it came from. Let me know.
And I will say that I found that well over half my scouts seller IDs went to junk.
Mhm.
So that happened a lot. That was part of the reason I actually printed it out.
So did shipping notifications from online sales.
Mm.
Like, I don't remember anybody ever saying they got that. I just gave them, like, I just had them written down and
Yep.
I did like little like handout bags, like to start the season of
Sure.
like black bag, and I had little flyers and their little thing, and I had like a little popcorn sticker, and I said like their name and their ID. So it was like, here's your bag, here's your seller ID, this is how you sell. If you have questions, here's your QR code to like submit your order.
Yeah, no, that's great.
And
Um,
I will say setting up your seller account is easier on a computer than it is on like an iPhone. Because there's like pop-ups that happen. So depending on how your phone's set up, because Lord knows my kid's been doing it for like 6 years now, and I always forget and go back to the computer and do it.
Also, sometimes your web browser makes a difference. I
Yes.
know that sounds crazy, but I noticed some browsers I'm able to sign on easily and other ones I cannot. So if you're having a hard time, like say you're using Google, I don't remember which one is the one that gives me trouble. But
So as I say, on
Is
my
it
phone,
Safari?
Safari gives me an awful,
Yeah.
an awful time.
Androids are happy about it.
Yeah.
Do you know if they updated, if somebody buys something online, like it's, like I can see it going into the Scout Boss thing to be able to see that, but like my parent
can see it as well.
can not see it. Like I had to email them to be like, hey, just so you know, this person bought popcorn for your kids, so that like your kid could go and say, thank you, Aunt, for buying popcorn, but it didn't like notify the family at all. Like it
So-
just notified me.
Those online, the discussion is, talking about Scout Boss
Person.
and when an online sale comes in, who gets notified? Do you have, I know what I thought, but I don't wanna just say what I thought if it's wrong.
I don't know. I know they are doing updates still to kernel tracker and some of the other software, and they're gonna be updating the tutorial videos within the next month or so.
Okay, so we will get a final answer on that. What I thought from 2 years ago, I thought an email went out to that email address that was connected to the Scout seller ID.
That did a few years ago. I think that was actually 3 years ago.
Oh, okay, so things have changed. We're not quite sure
Did not.
what the current standard
Yeah, I think
procedure is.
3 years ago, and I believe that they stopped doing that a couple of years ago.
Okay,
But they've been going back and forth, as Allison was just saying, with kernel tracker and how they're gonna use that. So once they're still updating the website on that piece of it, so we probably won't know until, and I've noticed that the online sale, cause I looked at PR Popcorn the other day, and you don't even have access to go in there and see that yet. So, as it gets closer, we'll get more information.
alright, so, what Aaron was saying for those online, Putatonica is still updating the website, how it's functioning. And so once we get closer, we may not even know till it actually rolls out and we have an online sale, on how that's gonna work.
Is there, separate Scout Boss training offered?
There is not a separate training on it, but there is a guide in the very back of your popcorn guide. I think it starts around page 41. It's got step-by-step instructions on how to do that. And certainly reach out to your district colonel if you have any questions.
Yeah, that's your online access. They were talking about specifically, when somebody buys something.
Yeah, that's your seller ID. Following in your account.
Are there any questions from online, Aaron?
The only one was somebody made a comment, I don't recall ever getting notifications of purchases online, I just checked online orders every few days. I mean, so, when we stopped getting those emails, that's kind of what I did, is I would go in and just go into reports and just check it, and really, for me, I tended to do it when I knew I was gonna be reporting everything anyways.
Yeah, like our TAC has like banned, like we do have like a banned app for the TAC, but for like notifications. So I would send the parents like, hey, just so you know, this person bought popcorn from your person, just so that they knew.
So the only caveat I saw to that, was that if you set up my PR popcorn for your Scout and you set the link to your social media from my PR popcorn, then you would, if you signed into my PR popcorn, which a lot of Scouts don't necessarily use, then you could see those online sales on my PR popcorn. But sometimes I will say that every year Pecatonic or River Popcorn seems to change how they're doing things technologically here and there, and we don't always know until the sales season happens, what they're doing with that. But if I would say one thing that you could do is put your own Scout My PR popcorn and see what you can see on there, because there's different things that you can see in there, like you can upload videos, pictures, send out emails, put a direct link through Facebook in My PR Popcorn, which is really nice. So you don't have to just say, hey, this is my seller ID, use it, because people can mess that up easily. Here's my link to my product. And then when you're in there, you can also then check to see if you can see the online sales through there this year.
So delivery, I know that we have youth that come and help. I can't remember what the age cutoff for that is.
I think
Y'all remember?
we normally say what, 14? 14?
I mean, I think that when we're looking at it, we're trying to keep, obviously, if you've got a pretty mature scout who is, responsible, it's one thing. What we don't want is when we're getting deliveries, having little kids running around kind of slowing things down because they're, jumping in and potentially getting hurt, really, is even a bigger problem.
So
Right,
the
yeah.
question is during the popcorn deliveries, what age of scout should be coming? And so district is looking at, 14 and above, absolutely. Maybe down to 12, depending on the scout. We'll have trucks, we'll have forklifts, or one forklift, we'll have
Pallet jacks.
pallet jacks. So it's not a place for 8-year-olds, and Cub Scouts running around. So we do need those scouts that are coming to be a little on the mature side, that they can operate in a chaotic environment without getting hurt.
And conversely, if you have a 16-year-old who is not very mature like my son, love him to death, then you may want to say, hey, let's feel him out. Maybe we don't bring him to this one if he can't act right. I'm just saying.
You gave thank you things for military donation, because you are getting you're not really getting a product. Is that tax deductible? That like 501c3 tax deductible? Okay, I didn't think so, but I was just double checking since there is like a receipt there that we could potentially give people. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, whoever makes the donation should talk to their own tax advisor. We don't want to give them tax advice, but certainly, give them the receipt and.
Because
And-
you're donating to the Boy Scouts, which is tax deductible, but you're donating for popcorn, which I'm questioning if that's tax deductible.
I would ask a tax advisor. I wouldn't want to answer that myself.
I was just asking because I didn't remember seeing the thank you receipt before, so.
Oh, those have been in there for years. That's all right. I'm a district colonel, so I've read that thing several times
Yeah,
now.
we had feedback a couple years ago that somebody wanted something to hand to somebody for making a donation. So that was a unit request. So feel free to use those.
Okay.
So I just Googled that to see what Google said, right? And we could take that with a grain of salt. I do agree, you should always talk to your tax advisor. But it said, donations to a local unit are generally not tax deductible because they're not legal entities themselves. So it would have to be directly to council. And so since it's going through your unit to council, that's where the problem comes in.
So the
But
question
ask your
was,
tax advisor.
in the popcorn guide in the back, there is a section that has receipts that you can give people. And the question was, is that really tax deductible? We don't think so because it's of what the information on Google says, but we're not giving tax advice, so you always need to go talk to your tax accountant. Are there any more questions? Online? All right, so this was recorded. So if you need to go back and look at training and listen to me again, feel free to let us know.
Yeah, we will post this and the slides both next week after we have done the second training.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you for those who are online for coming and being with us.
Happy popcorn selling, guys.